Thursday Live. Wanted to jump on here. Uh, we did these a bunch, 7 o'clock on Sunday nights. Done very well. But I wanted to stop in the middle of the week and touch base with you guys. Tomorrow, Bill Riley's on the show. Mr. Bill O'Reilly. We'll do it live. Uh, I always love saying that. And then next week, Stephen Miller. There's some great stuff that America First Legal, which is the organization that he leads, is doing. Victor Davis Hanson, always love his takes. And then Governor Mike Huckabee. So I figured I would just touch base and see if there was any thoughts or questions or issues that you guys wanted brought up. Sorry, I gotta click this. If there's an issue that you want, leave it in the comments. You can join the VIP group, seanspicershow.com/VIP. Always welcome. Got the website, seanspicer.com. We always look forward to hearing what you guys think. So if there's issues, let me know. And I will, like I said, if it's a question, we can bring it up with them, or a topic or an issue, let me know. And we'll get to that. But as I said, I mean, between Stephen Miller and all the stuff that they're doing, getting ready for a second Trump administration, as well as some of the stuff America First Legal is doing to sue organizations. They're the ones the other day, I pointed this out on the show, they sued the Cyber Security and Infrastructure Security Administration, CISA, to get this information out about what they were doing in the 2020 election, that said that they knew that there was a higher degree of fraud with mail-in ballots, but they ignored it. They called people who said that that were opposed to it spreading and purveyors of disinformation. And Stephen's organization actually got all these documents out. So that was pretty cool. And obviously, if you have an idea about something that we should bring up with him about Trump, the next term, any of the cases that they're working on, let me know. Governor Mike Huckabee and Victor Davis Hanson are always great. Bill O'Reilly, fantastic as always, right? I mean, who doesn't love a good chat with Bill O'Reilly? He sets you straight, is the way I like to put it. Couple issues today on the show, or tonight on the show, like 6 o'clock, I guess, when you watch it. I want to talk about these tech titans that are on the Helios today. At first glance, I gave Mark Zuckerberg some credit for standing up and acknowledging the victims, these families that had pictures of their kids that had suffered, killed themselves, took their own lives, had issues that were the fault of social media. So number one, and I'm going to talk about this with the panel tonight, but once I heard what he said, because if you saw the issue, Senator Hawley calls him out and he says, "Do you want to take this opportunity to apologize?" And he stands up and he turns around, and at first we couldn't hear anything. And they translated it later and they put the captions in. And he gives this weaselly answer about, if you were hurt. And I'm thinking to myself, what he blames them basically. It's their fault if they're hurt. Is a weak apology. I'm upset or I apologize if you are upset, which is pathetic and weak. And that's what I thought was interesting. So we'll talk about that with the panel today. I'd love to get your take, because I always do great apologies. A sincere apology to me is, I'm sorry that my actions did something, right? That's a sincere apology. When you start talking about, I'm sorry if you're offended, that's not an apology. You're saying you're sorry if someone else is hurt, but you're not taking responsibility. And I thought what the media is calling apology, which it wasn't, was pretty pathetic and lame. And yet the media gave it it was like, oh, look at how amazing this moment was. Yes, I'll give Zuckerberg credit. He could have just sat there at the dais and stared at Senator Hawley. He got up and turned around, but it wasn't a real apology. And also these ideas, these politicians, Lindsey Graham, and I'll call them all out, who, thanks Walter, by the way, for your support. Appreciate it. I'm watching the comments now, but these guys act like they have nothing to do. They're like, you guys are to blame for all this. And I'm like, the legislation is up to you guys in the Senate. You can sit there. You haven't banned TikTok. You haven't done anything. You haven't touched Section 230. They're acting like somehow like these social media companies are taking advantage of the laws that these guys have written. They want to fix it. They should fix it. And also then they acted like, well, you're a big, powerful lobby. Well, no kidding. They're buying you off. So if you're that opposed to them, then don't take their money. it's pretty lame and hypocritical and pathetic that that's the answer. Like, you guys are just so powerful. Well, they're only powerful because you're taking the money. Um, JGJ, you say this smells too much like the Patriot Act. Which are you referring to? And Denise, thank you. I'm glad you found us. Um, it was fun doing the show over at Newsmax, but this is a lot more enjoyable when you get to say whatever you want. You don't have to worry about it. Yeah, I always told people, and not everyone bought this, but the show was called Spicer and Company, and people would always say, it's your show. It wasn't my show. I was a W-2 employee of a company. They named the show. They gave us a lot of freedom, but there was also times when they told us what guests to have or not to have, actually more times than not. And then what topics they wanted covered. And so being able to do this is uh, so, oh, I see, JJ. You're saying I want to go after big tech as much as my fellow conservatives. Government has always been. Yeah, I agree. But the idea that these guys are like pretending like they're useless, they gave them Section 230 as part of the Indecency Act. They're the ones who created the ability for these guys to be untouchable. So that's the thing that's so interesting. Denise, 100 subs coming soon. I hope so. We're 2,000 short. With your help, we'll get there. And that's, by the way, that's so helpful. I appreciate everybody who spreads the word about the show. Um, so many times when I'm walking around, people say, a friend of mine told me that once you left Newsmax, here's where I could find you. That's how we roll. So anytime that you can share this with somebody, and it's on YouTube, Rumble, Apple, Spotify. So if you're watching it here, please feel free to go to Spotify right now, and Apple. I won't get offended. I can't even see you. And go to Apple or Spotify and just hit subscribe, because that actually helps. It doesn't cost anything, but it gives us, it shows growth, and the folks love it. Lena Khan is a good commissioner. Oh, okay. FTC commissioner. Okay. By the way, Brendan Carr was on he's from the FCC, not the FTC, but he's a good guy too. I think when Trump wins, he's a good candidate for chairman. But he needs it. One other thing I wanted to put to your attention, I can't post it because it's a live event. We're working on the technology, but do you see this guy, Marco Rubio, put it in his Instagram feed? These guys beat up cops, plural, in New York. They get completely off. They're here illegally, and then they give the finger. This is what's going on right now. I mean, that's what the legal folks think of us in our system. I and by the way, they came to a sanctuary city. I mean, I hate to say this because these cops don't deserve this. But this is the problem with Mayor Adams and so many people who declared themselves sanctuary cities. It's on you guys. DC is the same way. I'm going to talk about this tonight with the panel. I think that these guys in DC, I mean, DC is disgusting now. You walk around, in the middle of broad daylight in any downtown aspect of DC. These aren't like shady and seedy neighborhoods. This is downtown DC. It's scary. People are getting carjacked, 1,000 carjackings. An FBI agent got carjacked. A member of Congress got carjacked, and there's zero consequences. And most of this is juvenile. Why? Because there's no consequences. And these kids think that it's cool, it's fun, it makes them money. It's crazy. I'm reading some of the comments here. Great show at Dershowitz last night. Denise, thank you for saying that, because I've said this before. I love having Dershowitz on. He's a liberal Democrat that defends the Constitution. And I can get a lawyer. We've actually had several of them, and I have no problem with it, of people who support President Trump that will tell you that. The thing about Dershowitz is he says, I don't support President Trump, but here's why the law shouldn't be weaponized against him. And we need more people like that. We need to show the left that you don't get to just twist the law and the Constitution because it's not good for you. That's not how it's supposed to work. Anyway, I always told people, like, a defend speech that I hate, because that's what the whole idea of the First Amendment is. It's not because it supports what you like, it's what it supports what you don't like. The other, so that's why I like having them on, and I appreciate that. As I mentioned, though, it is pretty scary what is happening in DC. And it's funny because I came here in the mid-90s. There was a period where it wasn't safe, and then it got a lot better. It was kind of like New York, but different. I mean, it wasn't like Rudy Giuliani broken windows where they took everything seriously, but there was an aspect of taking crime more seriously and punishment. And then they defund the police, they decriminalize everything. There's so many of these stores are shutting down. I mean, there's a store the other day, there's a CVS in Upper Northwest, a popular place. they were showing video of it where the shelves are empty because these guys come in, they steal everything. The security guard literally can't do anything. Why? Well, because the security guard's not going to risk their life, especially if cops won't come, and if the cops do come, they won't do anything. It's a joke. So they're closing down. All these people are like, oh, it's a shame they're closing down. Well, it's not like you guys vote for these morons who defund the police, who decriminalize all this stuff, and then you act like somehow you had nothing to do with it. You guys keep voting for this stuff. Not you guys, obviously, you're here. But I'm talking about these people in DC and LA and New York. You vote for these morons, and then you wonder why this thing happens. Um, Going after TikTok alone is worthless. I see. This is from M Ball. I disagree. I don't think it's one or the other, but I will say this: the one unique thing about TikTok, that all of them, is that it is a Chinese-owned app. They are using it and weaponizing it against us, our own kids, and it is a national security issue. Facebook, I have a million problems with, and I'm not saying, but at least it's American-owned. We are literally giving China a free shot on goal over and over and over every day. The information that they're able to soak up on us, to weaponize on us, the influence that they're able to have, showing our kids certain things, getting them to believe certain things. I was watching one of the kids the other day who had gotten involved in crime, and they were interviewing him and his family because apparently he's turning his life around, blah, blah, blah. And he said, where they're asking him why you've got all this stuff. You go into a private school, your family's well off. And he said, because of these influences that I see on social media. I mean, this is what's happening. Mark Zuckerberg the other day saying, or yesterday saying that, there's no evidence. I'm like, I can't even remember if they have kids, him and his wife, but any parent that has a kid doesn't need a study to tell them that social media and big tech and Hollywood influence their kids. Why do you think they buy stuff? Why do you think they all love I mean, like they see it. Anyway, and I get it. I'm saying all companies suck up data. There's 100% true, and I'm concerned about all of them. But I do think, and so don't get me wrong. Showing what you hear old time, God bless America at rallies. Okay, well, I don't disagree with any of that. They all are sucking up data, and I think that they all need to be reformed. The difference is that at least we can regulate and we know where the data is going on an Instagram or something like that, or YouTube. TikTok is weaponizing it for the benefit of the Chinese. That's not, so an issue I think you should look into: right to repair. Okay, JGG, I don't know what that is. I will look into it. Right to repair. Okay. Anyway, I'll look in all that. As I said earlier, we've got Bill O'Reilly on the show tomorrow, Mike Huckabee, Victor Davis Hanson, and Stephen Miller all next week too. As more to come, by the way. That's just the immediate short-term lineup. So if you have questions, thoughts, ideas, let me know. It should be made easy for parents to keep their. I agree, and it is hard. We've been very careful with our kids about what they see and how they see it. But I will tell you, I think you're right. It's a balancing act. There's a aspect that parents need to be involved. They can't just sort of push it all on these tech platforms and say it's your fault, or on legislatures. Parents need to see what their kids are watching. There's no question about it. So that's one. But it's not as easy as people do think. We're very careful with what they see and don't see, but I can't tell you I see everything. They've got friends, they've got ways around. So I agree. But there's an aspect of parents that need to be more involved, but then there's a recognition they can't see everything. So I don't disagree. Right to repair is big. Okay, says Mark. All right, Mark, you guys, right to repair. I will check this out. All right. Anyway, I more than anything wanted to hop on middle of the day. I wanted to see what was on your mind, what you think of the guests, ideas, issues, thoughts you have. I clearly have one now to look into. JGG says they're all copying the TikTok paradigm. I agree with you. Maria Bartiromo was shouting about TikTok years ago. Yeah, well, obviously there's a bunch of people who care, but part of what I thought was funny yesterday with these senators is that it's like, you're the guys who could do this. You can ban it, you can change it, you can edit it, and you're acting like you're completely useless, which I thought was interesting. I'm not a Republican, but I've always appreciated your integrity and appreciate your service. Yeah, that you're available to. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. That's very nice. I get it. We're gonna have a Democrat on the panel today. I think part of this is to figure out how to. I'm very clear where I stand. I'm a proud social and fiscal conservative, but I think if you want to actually have dialogue, sometimes you can do it in a more civil way than has happened in the last couple of years. So I appreciate the comment. That's obviously the goal. I want to advance the policies and bring people over. And I don't think you generally do that when you're yelling at them, but I think you can convince them otherwise. So hopefully I appreciate that comment. Thank you for doing that. Hopefully you continue to spread the word about the show. The thing is, when you subscribe to YouTube or Rumble or Apple or Spotify, or hopefully all of them, it doesn't cost anything. I'm not looking for a subscription fee. As you can tell, all this is free, the interaction, the comments, and the back and forth. Obviously, if you want to be part of our VIP community, I'll plug it. It's SeanSpicerShow.com/VIP. It's $40 a year. We do weekly Q&As or share content. So, we try to add some value that's a little bit significant and more intimate. But beyond that, it's the goal is to enjoy this, have fun, break out of the mainstream corporate stranglehold that exists. And so I appreciate all your support. Subscribing is the one way that we show people that we're growing, and it's been fun watching this number of subscribers down here in the corner on all of these outlets go up. And as I said, it's really helpful on the Apple one as well. So, and I mentioned with Grant Stinchfield over the weekend, we were doing this. We both are on Rumble, love Rumble. We're working to expand these live things that you guys see so that they'll happen on all platforms at once. We're literally a week or two away from that. That's the goal here. YouTube is the easiest, and it's actually financially, it produces the best. So, anyway, I love getting your feedback and your ideas. So you've done that. It's great just hopping on because we do have to wait for a set. Yeah, I know. And that's why I wanted to hop on. We got a great panel tonight. Aaron Elmore is going to be with us. Sarah Gonzalez and Michael Starr is going to be with us. All great guys. And it's a fun discussion. I love having it. So anyway, I had a few minutes today. Well, not today. I do have a few minutes later on, but I had a few in the middle of the day, right at lunchtime. Wanted to hop on with you guys, get your feedback, which I now have as future ex-Chicago sanctuary cities should get no federal. So I agree. I mean, the idea that we're funding some of these cities that are putting more money and resources towards people who aren't citizens when we have some, it's funny, by the way, Biden's going to East Palestine apparently a year late. And they were playing some of the clips that he said right after the incident in East Palestine. And one of them, he says, I'd go there, but I have to go around the world. And he starts listing all these cities. And I'm thinking to myself, that literally just shows you that was the priority. I have to go to all these other cities around the world, not your city, not in America, not in an American community, it was so funny because I listened to it now and it just sounds so tone deaf. And that's frankly, when President Trump talks about America first, that's what he's talking about, putting American cities and citizens first. And yet I'm watching this Biden clip and he keeps talking about, I can't go because I have to go, whatever it was. He was like, India, da, 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 da. It's like, right. So that's the point. You value your time over there more than here. Just checking out this. It's great that you could just hop on. Yeah, please investigate. UN sponsored migration crisis. Okay. Yeah. Okay, Ronnie, Sean have been with you. YouTube's being a Newsmax. Sure do miss Lindsay. I do too. I talk to her quite often, by the way. She's got a new gig. Dr. Phil is starting this network. It's part of the TBN family. And if I get this wrong, my apologies. They asked her to kind of do this news issue of theirs. So she was left Newsmax to go to TBN. She was doing Center Point. I think it's 7 o'clock every night. It was a news program. And then they launched this Dr. Phil network that's somehow connected or affiliated with TBN. So it's all in the same family. And she's going to move over and do the newscast there. So it's kind of cool and exciting to watch her continue to have these new opportunities and blossom and grow. And so I miss being able to collaborate with her every day. But obviously we do stay in touch. She's down in Texas somewhere, wherever those TBN studios are. Anyway, but it's tough because you get used to, for 3 years, every day they're your partner. You get to ping off them ideas, thoughts, topics, yes. And obviously that doesn't continue. So anyway, I didn't have anything more than telling you guys about the guests. As I said, tomorrow, Bill O'Reilly, Mike Huckabee, Stephen Miller, Victor Davis Hanson all next week. So we got a big lineup coming your way. I really do enjoy Dr. Phil on TBN. Didn't have that. Yeah, it's not JG. He's not on TBN. They're launching a new network. Um, and I think I'd have to Google it. But it's he's kind of like doing how Oprah had the Oprah Winfrey Network. It's the Dr. Phil network, but I guess it's under the umbrella of TBN. So it's a whole new network. You go on your channel or if you have cable, you'll find it. I guess I don't know. I just read Lindsay sent me one of the things, but that's interesting. So like I said, I'm trying not. I don't want to get this wrong, telling you what I know, but I'm not an expert in their launch. How's that? Anyway, thank you guys for being here. I hope to see you tonight. Thanks for all your support and for watching the show, for spreading the word. You guys are the marketing team. I mean, that's really the truth here. There's a lot of people when I left Newsmax said, "Where are you going?" If you signed up for the notification on YouTube, then you'll get pinged when I do something new or whatever. But that's part of this, is to keep them aware of the show, because I get asked so many times, "Where are you now?" And I try to tell them. So if you can help spread the word, help us grow, as I was hearing earlier, who was telling me, yeah, hitting 100, that'll be great. So our growth is because of you, because you're spreading the word. So please continue to do it. It means the world to me. So thank you very much. All right. I hope you enjoy the show tonight. Like I said, tomorrow, O'Reilly. I'll keep an eye on the rest of your comments. Anyway, thanks for jumping on in the middle of the day. You know where to find me. SeanSpicer.com is the website. The VIP sign up, SeanSpicerShow.com/VIP. And obviously Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, wherever you want. But do me a favor, as I said, there's no harm in going to all 4 of those platforms and just hitting subscribe. Super helpful. Anyway, thanks for being with us. Have a great rest of your Thursday. If I don't see you tomorrow, have a great weekend. Like I said, I'm excited about the Bill O'Reilly conversation tomorrow just because it's Bill. He never disappoints, does he? It's always an interesting perspective, even when I disagree with him. It's just, he always makes you think. Anyway, if I don't see you, have a great weekend. Thanks. Bye.